In 1962, the movie begins on an Italian ocean liner called Grazia. A singer named Francesca is keeping the party-goers entertained while they dance with their loved ones in the crowd. Katie, a little girl, sits alone because she doesn't have a dance partner. The ship's captain sees this and makes her get down on the floor. The party goes from fun to terrible very quickly. When an unknown hand lifts a lever that tightens a wire cord, the wire snaps and whips across the dance floor. As the passengers and crew are cut up, their bodies hit the ground one after the other, making a bloodbath. Katie is the only one left on the dance floor because the wire couldn't get her because of her. Scene changes. In the future, 40 years from now, a crew of 6 people is saving a ship from the sea. Captain Murphy leads his crew and gets the ship safely to land. The group then goes to a pub to celebrate. There, an old friend named Jack comes up to them. Jack also works in the marine business, and he has heard about a ghost ship from 1962. A chest of gold that has been missing for 50 years is said to be on the ship. The things in the ship belong to the person who brings it to shore. This gets the crews interested, so they use their salvage tug to go look for the ship. The next day, after a few hours of travel, they get to their destination, but there are no ships in the area, according to the tracker. They check to see if it's working right and decide that the report was a fake. Just as they are about to go back the way they came, they see a huge commercial ship in front of them. Their boat crashes into the ship, but luckily there is no damage. Jack and one of his crew members, Greer, stay behind while the other 4 get on the ship. Just seconds after they arrive, strange things start happening to the group. First, they hear some strange sounds. Then they start to see things moving in the dark places. They say the wind did it and keep going. Behind them, however, a Scrabble board moves on its own to make the words, "Welcome to a board that I call BS." On the upper deck of Scrabble, no one ever gets a hand that good. One member of the crew named Munn falls into a hole, but the only woman in the group saves him, Maureen. As she tries to pull him up, Katie appears out of nowhere in the background. She's gone in seconds, so Maureen doesn't have time to figure out if she was real. She feels bad about what happened, but she doesn't tell anyone. A little farther on, the group finds a digital watch on the floor. Since these kinds of watches didn't exist in 1962, they thought that someone had been on the ship before them. Then, since the ship is so big, the captain decides to keep looking the next day. Jack comes up to Maureen when she is home alone at night. He can tell that she is nervous because she just saved Munn. When Jack hears about the little girl, he is quiet for a moment. He looks like he knows something but doesn't act like it. Instead, he tells Maureen that the hallucinations will go away if she sleeps for a few more hours. The next day, the crew gets together to figure out what to do next. They have found that damage to the ship's base is causing it to slowly sink. They decide to stay in the water for 3 days to fix it and then go back to shore with the hole. Without taking too long, they keep doing their jobs in the different parts of the ship where they belong. In the meantime, Maureen looks around and finds the pool area. She sees bullet holes on the wall, which is strange because they were told that everyone who tried to get out of the pool drowned. She again sees Katie, which scares her so much that she falls off the ladder and starts to bleed. But when she looks up again, Jack is standing where Katie was just a few seconds ago. Jack and Katie walk away without noticing that Maureen's blood is leaving the pool. Soon, the bullet holes will start to leak blood, which will fill the whole pool. There is no blood in Ghosts. After that, Jack and Maureen look around the laundry room and find a door that wasn't on the ship's blueprint. When they open it, they are pushed by a force of water, which also brings out bodies that have been cut up. Jack and Maureen both get scared and try to get away, but the door they came in through locked itself, so they had to go deeper into the ship. Captain Murphy ends up in the captain's lounge in the meantime. He finds an open bottle of alcohol, but when he tries to take a sip, he looks in the mirror and sees the ship's real captain. Murphy runs away in fear, not knowing what is going on. The glass falls and breaks. Greer is just doing his own thing when he hears it being sung. Is Francesca the same performer who was on board in 1962 and made people laugh? Greer tries to find where the sound is coming from, but he gives up after a while. He doesn't know, though, that the woman is watching him leave from somewhere else behind him. Jack and Maureen find a chest with gold blocks in it. It's worth a lot of money, enough for everyone on the crew to take it home. They call everyone together with excitement to show them the treasure. Now that the ship is fixed, they can go home with just the treasure and not have to fix the ship. Everyone is putting the gold into their boats. Santos, the mechanic, is cleaning the engines so that they are ready to go when they decide to go. Someone behind him leaks propane on purpose from a cylinder, causing an explosion. It leads to Santos' death and the destruction of the boat. Everyone is taken aback. He was upset by the sudden death. Also, they have to stay on the ship until they figure out how to fix it. Maureen had seen Katie again right before the bomb went off. It looked like she wanted to tell Maureen about the explosion, but someone stopped her. This is enough to make Maureen want to find out more about Katie. She checks the passenger list to find out what her room number is. Maureen screams in shock as she walks to the room. Katie's decomposing body is still hanging from the ceiling, proving that she died by hanging. After Maureen calms down, she moves closer to Katie's body and takes a necklace off of it. Katie's ghost then comes into the room and asks for the necklace. Maureen tries to give it to her, but it goes right through her hand. She can now see that the little girl is not a real person. She took too long. Two of the crew find fresh food in the kitchen. They don't ask why before they eat half the food. At first, it tastes great, but after a while, they can smell something bad. When they don't check, they see that the food has become maggots. Both of them freak out, start throwing up, and feel sick. Greer, who is in the ballroom, is the next person. Everything is fine until all of a sudden the place goes back to how it looked before the wreckage. The people at the party crowd around him and act like they are at any other party. Also, Francesca seems to like him more than she used to. Even though he has a fiancée waiting for him at home, she flirts with him and gets him to kiss her. After the kiss, he is too far in to turn back. Francesca starts to take off her clothes while he follows her and tries to get in her, but instead, he dies when he falls off a high platform. This is a picture of what happens when you cheat in life. The pretty woman then shows her real, ugly face. In the meantime, Murphy is in the captain's room when a bottle of alcohol starts moving on its own. He looks at it closely and finds the ship's captain sitting in front of him. To Murphy's surprise, the man gives him some alcohol. The captain isn't here to hurt him. Instead, he wants to talk to him. He tells Murphy about a ship called Loreley that went down 40 years ago. Graza found the Loreley ship, which is the ship they are on right now. But Graza went missing 2 days after he found the lost ship. After that, Murphy is given a picture that makes him feel very surprised. Katie and Maureen are talking in her room at the same time. The little girl tells them that everyone who died on the ship 40 years ago is still stuck here. Someone powerful is holding them to the ship, so they can't go to heaven. Now, the only way they can get out is if the ship blows up. Before Katie says who the powerful person is, the room's walls start to change color. She gets scared and tells Maureen to run away, but then she goes away. Back in the area with the pool, Murphy is looking for the other people who work with him. He has finally learned what happened to the ship and wants to get back to land as soon as possible. But on the way, he is attacked by several Santos, the guy who died in the explosion. When Maureen comes up to him, Murphy thinks she is also the ghost of Santos because the dream seemed so real. He attacks her and tries to kill her in any way he can. Maureen stabs him in the feet and saves herself. After a while, Jack comes in, for their own safety, knocks Murphy out. They locked him in a fish tank that had been cleaned out. The group is no longer interested in the gold and just wants to get back to land. Over the next few hours, they keep fixing the ship until they finally finish. Everyone is worried because Greer still hasn't come back from the lounge area, and the guys are doing some last-minute checks. Maureen is going to find him. She runs into Katie again, who shows her the dead body of her GRE. This time, the girl is determined to show Maureen everything that happened on the ship 40 years ago. She touches Maureen, and that takes her back in time. People are talking and laughing on the ship, but they don't know that the co-captain has persuaded the whole crew to kill everyone on board so they can keep the gold they found earlier. Most of the people died because the cooks added rat poison to the food. Then there was the dance floor massacre. The last people who were still alive were shot in the pool. Katie was taken to her room and strung up to die. At last, the crew members ran to the treasure and started taking what they could, but the co-captain wouldn't let them. Together with Francesca, he finally shot each and every one of them. Before Francesca betrayed him and shot him in the head, the two of them were laughing. It turned out that her real lover is a different man, and that same man was the one who planned the whole massacre. After killing a lot of people, they gave each other a passionate kiss. But that wasn't the end of the surprises. Francesca was killed when the man let go of a hook that cut into her neck and caught her. In the end, it turns out that the man is Jack himself. He is the evil spirit of a sinner who died long ago. His job is to get people to do bad things, then kill them so their souls can go to hell. Jack was the one who first told Maureen and the others about the ship, so now everything makes sense. When Maureen saw Katie in the pool, he also came out of nowhere. Also, every time she talked about Katie with him, he told her to forget about her. Maureen remembers Murphy all of a sudden, but by the time time she gets to the aquarium where he is, he has already drowned and died. She runs to tell the other people that there is a murderer on board. Mun is using scuba gear to fix something in the engine room, which is full of water. She wants to follow him, but the blood in the pipe shows that he has also gone. Someone pulled him into the gears and killed him by grinding him up. Maureen and the last crew member, Dodge, are the only ones left. She asks Dodge to keep an eye out for Jack while she puts explosives on the ship. But when Dodge and Jack are by themselves, Jack messes with Dodge's mind and starts a fight. Dodge shoots him in a fit of anger and thinks he is dead. He then goes to Maureen, who has just finished setting the bombs. He tells her that he killed Jack and that with the gold they can start a new life together. Maureen thinks about it for a second, and then she asks him why he hasn't asked about Mun, who hasn't been found yet. Then it turns out that the person who tried to make Maureen sin was actually Jack. As long as this boat is here, the souls won't be able to leave. Jack knows that Maureen is a good person, so he offers to spare her life if she doesn't break his rules. But when Maureen detonates, the explosives Jack and the whole ship go off. Maureen jumps off the ship and saves Maureen. She is underwater and trying to figure out how to get out when Katie comes to help her. The next morning, all the souls who died on the ship are finally set free. Maureen is found floating on a box by a cruise ship. She is saved and taken away. In an ambulance, she sees a cruise ship loading a box of gold onto it. Jack has been brought back to life in some way, and he wants to keep the cycle of sin going. The movie ends with a scream from the Marine and the door of the ambulance closing. And the story ends here. What do you think about this story? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and activating bell for notification until the next video. Thank you so much for watching.